The emotion you expect in this process is often sadness, kind of grief, the letting go process. And that's definitely going to come up for many people. But there's also a side that I think there's that relief aspect of it, right? Mm-hmm. The weight that you start to feel when you start to realize that you're going to be able to move into another phase, another space that's going to serve you better moving forward. There's not only relief, but once you've embraced where that next space and place is, there's excitement, there's opportunity, there's even joy from letting go and
being closer to family.
Yes, oftentimes it involves getting closer to family. It can be a move into town to get closer to your community, but it could also very much be surrounded by grief, because it may be that generation has passed, and maybe that's why we're sizing out of a ranch. So there's going to be a lot of processing that happens emotionally from just, opening the boxes in the attic and all of the pieces that go with that. There's so much involved in the process of packing and moving and deciding to go to the next stage and phase of right sizing.
Well, you just had one. When the 100-acre listing, you had the husband was in a nursing home and he passed while we were listed, and it was just way too much. They were both older,
but Mom had the 3 sons supporting her and had already moved to the Fort Worth area to be closer to 2 of those sons and those families. And she was ready, it was not easy to go through a lifetime of belongings and it was exhausting for the adult children and for Mom, but it was the right time and the right process. And so getting through those emotions, by the time she made it to the closing table, there was such a palpable sense of relief and a emotion of gratitude and acceptance and excitement for the future, even through the loss.
Right.
Yes. We're not the family therapist, but we absolutely can be the resource to put you with the experts that you need, that family needed to understand their tax burdens that they were about to take on. They weren't through the probate process. We had to connect them with the attorney to help them get to understand that they had the right places, the right documents, the right process in place to be able to sell the property. And absolutely, we connected them with a financial planner as well, so that Mom's estate could be properly invested and handled for the future. Trust was established through their CPA, family trust that is. So that doesn't really address the emotional side of it, but it does address the being in hands, right? Yeah.
It eases the emotional side of it.
Well, it gives you the confidence to know that you have gotten your questions answered and that you're making right decisions in the right direction for your family.
Have you thought about this yet? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this?
Yes.
You need a financial planner. Oh, I don't. What's that? Who
do I talk to? Yeah. Right. And we know those people, and we look forward to having future conversations with those people here locally as well. Definitely have to sit down as a group of decision makers from the very beginning
Mm-hmm.
so that everybody is hearing the same things at the same time, if at all possible. And even if that means that we have to zoom in with somebody across the country, absolutely you want to do that. It's the day-to-day communication and decision process where it's really helpful to have one point person from the family filtering and taking it back to the team, so to speak. And when the decisions or stakes are high, I mean, oftentimes I'm talking about, you know, is it okay if the inspector comes at 2 p.m.? Okay, that's a one-person decision. Now we have an offer on the table. Can we bring all the decision makers on a conference call to understand the whole offer package and make that decision together? But there's levels of communication where you need a point person to just kind of take charge and answer the day-to-day pieces of what's coming up in the process of selling. You know, be it, hey, we have a showing at 3 p.m. Does that work for everybody? Is mom going to be able to go, you know, have lunch during this time? You know, that communication is a nice one-point person communication. And then the major decisions throughout the process is very much, it's important to have all decision makers at the table for those. That was an incredibly trying process for me as an adult child who had 1,000,001 irons in the fire, and I use that on the daily when I'm working with, especially the absentee children in these situations, is recognizing and understanding that there are more people that need to be communicated and kept in the loop. And that while you're working with maybe one decision maker, everybody needs to be heard and valued and recognized in the process, I guess. When my own experience, I didn't feel like I could slow down to really be involved. And luckily, you know, my dad was able to make those decisions and ready. You know, there were pieces to that process that I wish I had gotten more involved in, and it became hectic and scattered when it came to the actual move and that piece of it. And so just, you know, I think being able to communicate and prepare families for what that might look like, and how to get ready for the logistics of right sizing. And, like I said before in another video, I think it's important to understand your options when it comes to the things, because the things also have emotion attached to them, and so you have to be ready to sort through it. And you need an estate sale professional possibly, or, you know, your family needs to be ready to call in the Boys and Girls Club to you know, move some things out and make space to get to the next place.
Well, to me, it's a legacy. It's what your family has built, or it can go generations. I mean, mine's back to the 1800s, and we've still got a little piece of that. But it is something that it's very personal. And I know, at least for me, not for everybody, but it's something that you grew up doing, and you know how much it meant to your father or to the family. So it can be very personal, and not wanting to let go, but needing to let go. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it makes sense. And I think, you know, a lot of people that we work with, you can empathize, we can understand. Yes. That, you know, we've watched our parents and our grandparents worked so hard to build and bring forth this legacy, and making those decisions about where does it go from here. It's means something, and it is hard, but it's also exciting, right? To think about what your future generations, whether or not they actually put their hands in that same dirt, or that dirt leads to where they're headed.
The next step.
To the next step, right? That's exciting to think about. Well, they probably got a lot of questions, and that's where we come in. So step number one, when you think it's time to make some decisions, call us and let's start talking about what the options and opportunities are for that next step. You could probably find contact information right below.
That's it for this week, guys. Give us a call.